A big shout out to Liam, who responded on Facebook. Big moments, he suggested. What was the biggest moment in my life? Well, currently there are too many to mention, but drinking Carlton Mid would have to be a game changer, because I was drinking full strength beer and having 2-day hangovers with visions, untold visions, with my eyes closed. It seemed like they were open. That was the field of vision that I was having in my hangovers. But there's good and bad in that. I sold a car recently for way under what I paid for it, but it was mice infested. So the people who bought it saved me taking it to the rubbish dump. It had brand new tyres on it. They got good value. But they were Carlton Mid drinkers from early in the day. So I turned to drinking Carlton Mid, and I can drink it all day with no ill effects. I don't drive a vehicle though, unless I've had a few hours off it. One of the biggest changes in my life came when I wrote to a Swami in India, the head of Siddha Yoga at the time he was. He's passed away now. Excuse me. The people who bought my car were also smokers. And I hadn't had a smoke, nicotine, for 20 years. I was quite an aversion to it. And in that aversion, I lived for 10 years off-grid near the coast. I was able to save some money for the first time in my life. That's at about 64 years of age. But back to one of the greatest moments, because there have been too many great moments. I learned to meditate in 1974. I did not meditate for many years. Then I started practicing hollow-sync meditation, which was okay, but I had to keep buying batteries, and sand was getting into my record player, my disc player, and I was getting annoyed with that because I had to keep buying batteries or new disc players. So I reverted to the meditation technique I learnt in 1974 and kept practicing that for several years. And even now, I'm only getting back into a regular meditation regime. In 1979, I wrote to a Swami in India explaining the sound I heard, which is called tinnitus by the Western medical fraternity, or whatever you call themselves, medical people. And he said, listen to that sound. So I did. It's 2020 now, and I've been listening to that sound for many, many, many years. Until recently, as I said before, the inner spirit will resolve questions you might have. And just as we have the third eye, which is what we see when we close our real eyes, or our physical eyes out here, the third eye is what sees, I believe. And just recently, I had a realization, an opinion, that what is heard is called tinnitus, is actually heard by the third eye, but why not the third ear? Just as we go to sleep, we close our eyes, we start having sensation in our body that is not there when when our eyes were open. I say that is also heard by the third ear, eye, or physical sensation, whatever, I don't know. It's heard by the pineal gland, it's felt by the pineal gland, and it's seen by the pineal gland. The spirit is what tinnitus is. The Sikhs say that there is something eternal, and other people in yoga say that sound is the cause of the universe. So by a process of deduction, one may presume that tinnitus, called nada in yoga terms or Sanskrit terms, nada is the cause of the universe, it is the cause of our being. So having been told to listen to nada by the Swami Muktananda Saraswati, I did, but I also learned in time to not only listen to the nada, but to feel it, therefore to mix the sound with the feeling in the body. I said recently to somebody on Facebook that Maya is what is going through one's mind or head or heart when you're listening to, you're hearing songs in your head, your favourite songs. But that is Maya, and you should avoid overdoing that because, in my mind, that is hubris. But it's still going to occur because it's been there in your life for so long. But if you've got nada to hear, and you listen to nada as much as you want to, over decades you will hear other sounds. According to yoga, treatise, books, whatever, there are 8 different sounds. So as I've listened to nada over the decades, I have heard several other sounds, and one of them might be continual playing of music. It's like, how do you understand it? It's like, it's not always there. It's depending on my mood. It's like I hear constant music. It's like, anyway, I get lost in that. So realizing yoga entails discipline. And one of those disciplines, or several of those disciplines, include chanting Sanskrit texts, through or via which one may understand what Siddha means. And for me, it has taken until now, through various serendipity moments, to realise what Siddha means. But unless one has taken the course of reading the text in Sanskrit, localizing the different structures of the words, it's poetry, not taking too much effort to get involved in English translation, one may understand exactly through the Guru Gita what Siddha means. It's a grave. Guru means gravity, graveness, and it's the Guru Gita is a grave text, chanted with solemnity, but also including meditation. And then one may laugh throughout the day for no real reason. One's happy to be alive. That's my greatest achievement. Misfortune befalls people, and fortune too. Work to self-realization. However, someone might advise you who you trust, and you may find self-realization. Many people state that music is good for you, great for you, it's great. But is this music you listen to? Maybe it is. But the other inverse reality is nada, tinnitus. But the medical profession, you see on Facebook or wherever, how to stop tinnitus occurring, what, how to turn your spirit off. How to be constantly looking out for enjoyment. You can have nada and still be achieved. I went to town the other day. It's a long weekend here. And all the people had been given freedom to travel interstate, but they had no idea about social isolation. So I can see why the government is not letting its guard down, because people are just not taking any real concern to the matter. And there are people with COVID within the community that are not telling you who they are. So if you're going to have music going through your head or thoughts and words and such and so forth, try and balance it with some nada. And when you have nada, just realise when you listen to it, does it give you more sensation, more physical sensation, or does it give you less? It's your option. But in this world today, this world is run by doppelgangers. And doppelgangers are those who have prosthesis. The particular prosthesis I'm talking about are the prosthesis in the jaws. And this narrows one's focus because it brings beta consciousness forth at the lack or the loss of alpha, theta, delta, and gamma consciousness wavelengths. I'm learning, do you want to stop your stream now or keep continuing? This is a long episode, isn't it? There may be more to say, according to the wishes of the public. They can even PayPal me if they want to. I'm considerably poor. I live in my car for the past 14 years. I like it. I live in the wild. You can see a tree in the background. I keep bees. I keep watering them because they've got to have some water. This area where I live is a park, and it's just heath, low scrub, and bees galore. I'll see you afterwards.